Hey, it's Bruce from TPC. I'm here with Justin England, our lead buyer, our wireless electronic drivetrain expert.
Sure.
Today is a super exciting day because if you've been following mountain bike news, you've probably seen some spy shots of the next generation SRAM axis derailleur on some pro bikes, and we finally have one in the flesh. Justin brought it over. I'm really excited to get it unboxed to see what it actually looks like in person.
That's right. Before we crack the box, this is going to be a kind of monumental shift for SRAM, shifting their drivetrain all over to this new transmission line of products, T-type products. This is an entirely new drivetrain from SRAM for all of their mountain bike gruppos. Still 12-speed, but the big difference here is the rear derailleur is directly mounted to the frame via your UDH hanger. So let's crack into this box. What we have here is the XXSL version, SRAM's top of the line. They're making two top tier versions, the XXSL, which is going to be a little bit more geared towards your cross-country racer, and the XX, which is going to be more geared towards your trail and enduro riders. And beneath that, of course, the XO lineup as well. All of them, though, refreshed with this transmission technology. So first up,
that is a sick looking derailleur.
the rear derailleur.
Now, this is the direct mount interface right there.
That's right. So this is going to mount to any bike that has a UDH,
Universal derailleur hanger.
Universal Derailleur hanger style mount for the frame. This is going to mount directly to the frame in line with the rear axle.
Yeah, and I've heard that like it increases stiffness, and also this part, it contacts the cassette, right? So
You got it.
super precise shifting.
Makes direct contact with the actual cassette and reduces all of the play that existed for decades, for years now, in the classic derailleur hanger setup.
Now, Justin, what if you crash?
Well, the really cool thing that SRAM has done with this product is actually made a lot of it serviceable and replaceable. So there are bash guards here that are actually replaceable. So when you do actually hit something or crash on your mountain bike, you can replace it. As well, this pulley cage with just a couple of twists comes off completely. So you can purchase the pulley cage separately and replace that. As well, even maybe more interesting, they've got what they're calling the magic wheel. So this bottom pulley wheel on the rear derailleur, the outside ring of the teeth actually spin independently of the inside wheel, so that if you get a stick or a piece of brush or whatever it may be lodged in there, you're not going to break your rear derailleur. The outside ring of the pulley cage is actually going to spin independently. It's pretty cool
too. Yeah, I like the silver in there. How do you put that back together?
It just threads right back on.
Sweet. And then I guess here we have the top. This is the new chain too, right? This looks a lot like the flat top chains they use on the Axis road groups.
Good eye, good eye.
Yeah.
That is a shift in the transmission technology.
Why flat top? Explain that to me. I know the answer.
Then tell me the answer.
It's
I'll quiz
because
you.
so you eliminate that cutout in the top of the chain. It's not touching any of the teeth, right?
Yep.
So you can have a thinner chain that's just as strong.
Exactly. Thinner chain, more stiffness. All of the transmission groups are shifting over to this flat top chain versus the existing Eagle chains that are not flat top.
Neato. And then in this top we have the non-drive crank arm.
Non-drive crank arm.
We can let's go. What's in the next tier?
Next tier down in the transmission tower that we have here includes the drive side crank. So this is the XXSL version of the crank. New design entirely here. You can see the kind of sawtooth look to the chainring. Loving the look of that. And the interesting thing here is it's actually independent of the power meter on the crank.
So there's a little bolt there. You can remove it, yeah.
You pull that bolt out and you can swap out to different chainring sizes. I will say that when you do that, you do have to adjust how your rear derailleur is set up.
Okay.
But you can swap to a different chainring size, minimal effort.
Yeah, so unlike the road groups where it's like integrated with the chain rings, that's nice. And is this, do they all come with power meters?
Not all of them. You can pay for that upgrade. This, of course, has it, and this is the top of the line, but each one of the groups comes with both power meter and non-power meter options.
So I guess, so this is the XXSL. We also have
XX, which is theoretically in the same tier, a little bit lower price point, although it's geared more towards the trail and enduro side of the rider market. What you're going to get there with the crank that's different is actual chain guides built into the crank, whereas the XXSL version of the crank that we have here is geared towards the cross-country end of the market, so very weight conscious on this one.
Cool, cool. And then in this we have the battery, the charger. That looks pretty much the same as it's been.
Same SRAM access battery.
But this is new controller.
New controller. You can see it's gotten a little bit smaller. What's really interesting, the mount is ambidextrous, so you can swap it, flip it, and run it on either the left or right side, depending on your preference. I know you're a moto guy. You like to have your rear shifter on the left, don't you?
No, it's brakes. I like this. This is like smaller than the old controller.
It is smaller, and plus the actual paddles there, the shifter buttons, there are a couple of different size options, so depending on what kind of tactile experience you want to have with the controller, you can swap them out.
Cool. And then I guess that leaves, the last one must be it's the cassette. That looks pretty
See how
good.
light that is, Bruce.
Holy crap. That's actually way lighter than I expected just looking at it.
So still running 12 speed, still 1052, but they made a ton of improvements here to bring the weight down on the XXSL version. It immediately jumps out to me when I pull it out of the box is this red bit in here. Why is this red? This one cog is red. After doing some research, this all ties into the setup of the bike. So basically when you're setting up this drivetrain, you mount the rear derailleur to your frame, you mount the wheel onto your bike, you run the chain through and run it onto this red cog. And that's what you use to set up the drivetrain system on your bike.
Cool. And you're telling me something really cool about the ramps on this, right?
So they got what they're calling cassette mapping. And what's really interesting about this transmission drivetrain, because everything is so closely interfaced, SRAM has been able to match up the shifts with the ramps on the cassette, so to create seamless shifting. One, this eliminates the errors of chain skipping while you're trying to shift, as well reduces wear. They're optimizing when and where the chain is shifting on the cassette, meaning longer life out of the chain, longer life out of the cassettes ultimately.
And it does mean too, you can probably shift under power, right?
For sure,
Just
100%.
Totally smashing
Maybe
it.
not all of your power, Bruce.
I mean, like,
but
1500 watts. I think it'll still shift.
No problem.
Yeah. Like, we got to weigh this.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So I brought a scale. I knew I wanted to weigh some stuff, so I brought a scale. Let's see. Oh, wow. 347.
347 grams.
That is, for a 1052 cassette, neat.
Pretty amazing.
I like that.
And of course, this is the XXSL, so this is intended for your cross-country weight weenie. This is going to be the lightest product on the market.
And I can visually, I'm going to have to count the teeth to be sure, but it looks like the gaps are more even than on the previous generation.
That's something they've been able to accomplish with this transmission direct mount rear derailleur, having kind of a more steady step between gear shifts.
Cool. And, this is really only compatible with bikes using the UDH, right?
Correct.
So,
which there are a growing number of frame manufacturers shifting to the UDH. Of course, those frames will still work with classic rear derailleur setups, just with that UDH rear derailleur hanger. But the SRAM transmission group is all geared towards mounting directly to that UDH setup on the back of your bike.
Awesome, that's perfect, because I just got a UDH frame.
There you go, you're set.
I think I'm ready.
Are you claiming this group here, Bruce?
I already have.
We'll let you have it for a little while. You can test and play with it.
All right, well,
and it's got to make the rounds.
I guess the main question I got to ask before I actually commit is what does it cost?
So this one here, the XXSL with the Powermeter on it, comes in at $26.99. It's pretty pricey.
Okay.
But there are also non-Powermeter versions. The XX version comes in at $22.99, and the XO version comes in at $15.99.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to try it out. You can find this and more at www.tpc.bike, so be sure to check that out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.